Hello everyone, welcome back to our competitive analysis and strategy class. In this session, we will discuss about the topic organizational culture, okay? So the first thing that I would like to recall or at least to remind you, okay, it's important for us to analyze, okay? At this moment, okay, what comes to your mind when we talked about something that we know as culture, okay? Culture, you could define it as the things you wear, the things you believe, maybe the things you see, okay? And somehow it's quite the same with organizational culture. But of course, if we're talking about organizations, we're meaning that it's a group that somehow was created, okay, and of course could or not pursue profit, okay? So let's take a look to specifically what is the definition of organizational culture, okay? So here we can see, as I mentioned briefly, okay, we have beliefs, attitudes, traditions, and maybe, okay, for you could have older elements. And of course, it has to mention that all creations, in order to have a pattern, in order to have a way of working specifically, okay? For some reason, the company established this as a cultural matter. And one of the things that I would like to highlight is that even though organizations have this capacity of creating their own culture, they must be aligned, or at least they must understand that they can't go against two things, specifically law and cultural aspects of the country itself. Okay, why do I mention this? Okay, because it's not the first time that we see companies that are maybe from China, Japan, Germany, that try to enter to our country, Mexico, and of course they might have challenges because of the way of how productivity works. Okay, maybe it could be a positive change, but of course what can go opposite, it's like if you want to pay less of the minimum wage, or maybe the way of how you establish sanctions, okay, go differently or opposite to the labor law, okay? So that's the only first insight that we have to recall, okay? Non-organizational culture can go against these two aspects. Most of the time, we're gonna see that organizational culture is defined by these elements: mission, vision, values, and objectives. Well, by now, objectives have been seen quite specifically in the first session of our semester. But now let's take a look specifically to mission, vision, and values, which by now, I'm guessing that you have worked with this in the past, or maybe you have read in the past, but it's important to analyze, okay? Because maybe we're gonna see different approaches of how these three components work, and maybe they are not quite understandable, or you might want to realize, is this actually works? I mean, defining these three elements actually are relevant and could make a difference in any organization? Well, but the first thing we have to recall about a mission, okay? A mission, it's kind of, as we know, as the reason of existence, okay? When we create any organization, it was born due to a purpose, okay? That purpose has to be clearly defined, okay? And here the scope has to mention, what do you want to solve? How do you plan to solve it? And of course, the people that you would like to provide this benefit, or who are going to get beneficiated from the creation of your organization, okay? Unfortunately, some organizations that tend to use a mission quite general, okay, or too generic. So the thing here is, like, if the mission is not well established, we're gonna have a little problem, because no one will understand first, and second, maybe it's not gonna create the impact that you're looking for, okay? So please take your time in order to create a mission that is reasonable, but more importantly, that creates the impact that you're looking for. Okay, because remember that the mission will be something that not just your employees or the people that are from the inside of the organization will see, but also external, okay? All the stakeholders of the organization. Here we can see, for example, it says, we're in a humanitarian institution of private assistance, part of the international movement, blah, 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 dedicated to prevent and relieve human suffering, okay? Cultivating auto protection through the voluntary actions, no? Here, as we can see, I mean, I'm mentioning what do I want to solve, how do I want to solve it, okay? And of course, what kind of like the things that I will be promoting. And, okay, if we see this, maybe it's gonna come to your mind like several possibilities of a mission. But if I say, what we want is to release pain, well, that could mean a lot of things. I mean, actually, okay? So that's the thing. Trying to make something that it's understandable, not too large, not too small, and of course, understandable at all moments. And of course, sometimes we define in a geographical way, okay, the things that we want to cover. Maybe we just want to cover Mexico, the US, a specific state. Not necessarily has to be all the country or all the world, okay? Another thing is actually the vision, okay? Vision must be aligned to the objective that you establish in a period usually from 5 to 10 years, and has to be something that you plan to achieve, you want to obtain, okay? Just remember that if this is aligned to your objective, it also has to be somehow smart, okay? Or at least you need to be clear with what you're looking for. Do you want to be the leader of the market? Do you want to cover most cities? Do you want to have 5, 10, 11 branches? What do you want, okay? So why do we have a vision? Because that vision is going to contribute to your mission. And of course, the things that you do in the short and medium term will also need to reflect into that vision that you're looking for. That's why everything has to be like well related, okay? There should be a relationship between all the elements that you're presenting. And of course, values by itself, okay? Values is something that we know that every human and every interaction that we have, it's kind of related to a value, okay? And here we have to make something clear, okay? You could define 3, 5, 10 values, okay? I mean, it's not a mandatory thing of a minimum or a maximum. But what really has to be essential is the congruency with the values that you are establishing as a core element. If you start mentioning values which are actually could be seen in your business, your organization, you're gonna have an incongruency, and that might lead into a bad press, okay? So be careful about using this type of values, okay? For example, if you use inclusion, tolerance, sustainability, equity, equality, family, I mean, you decide what you want to choose, but just be careful about when do you mention, and of course that your actions and the whole business idea is planned in this particular element. Otherwise, you are gonna be seen as an incongruent and a lack of transparency, okay? Well, this will be it for today. Thank you very much. And remember that if you have any doubts, please let me know via email or using Brightspace. Thank you very much and have an excellent day. Bye-bye.